Welcome to the Shared Secrets channel, where we tell erotica stories to spice up your night. Tonight's episode is based on an email sent to us about a girl who put in the overtime with her husband's boss so he can get the big promotion. Remember, if you would like your story featured on our channel, send us an email at sharedsecretschannel@gmail.com. Now, back to business. It's time to dim the lights, grab your wine, grab your partner, sit back and enjoy the story. The title of this one is called The Promotion. My husband, Mark, had been working under Mr. Carter for 5 years. Loyal, hardworking, but constantly overlooked for promotions. When Mark came home one night, shoulders slumped in defeat, he admitted that the senior position had once again gone to someone else. Carter said I wasn't assertive enough. He muttered, frustration seeping into his voice. I love my husband, but I do understand why Mr. Carter says he wasn't assertive enough. My husband, well, he is too much of a pushover. A nice guy if you must. We had been struggling with bills, and this promotion will finally put us in a pay scale where we can finally afford to take vacations and enjoy some of the finer things in life. I had seen an opportunity, and I knew I had to be assertive, as Mr. Carter mentioned. I knew it wasn't hard to get Mr. Carter's attention. After all, last corporate event, I wore a low-cut black dress that seemed to do trick. I could tell Mr. Carter admired my breast. I couldn't blame him. I know I've been blessed in that department. I remember how Mark told me that night to be extra nice and friendly to Mr. Carter and his wife. So I was. As the drinks flowed, all I can remember is Mr. Carter constantly telling Mark that he was a lucky man. That night, Mr. Carter gave me his business card and said, if you ever want to discuss Mark's future, give me a call. I smiled and blushed. Maybe I might have to, I replied. So after seeing Mark again not getting the promotion, I felt like I should do something. We are not getting any younger and our bills aren't getting any slimmer. Mark would never agree with me speaking and fighting for a promotion on his behalf. So I knew I had to do so secretly, which led me to my next question. How far am I willing to take this? After all, it's my husband's boss. Difficult times require difficult decisions, and I knew Mr. Carter would jump on top of me the first opportunity he gets. That night, after multiple glasses of wine with my husband, he had a semi-breakdown. He mentioned on how he felt like a failure, and after all his hard work at the company, he will never get the promotion he deserves. I felt a rush of guilt, and after my husband passed out, I decided to send Mr. Carter an email, under the pretense of discussing Mark's future. And just like that, within a few minutes, Mr. Carter replied, absolutely, this Thursday night you can meet me here, which included a GPS pin location. That night, I sat across from Mr. Carter in the dimly lit corner of an upscale hotel lounge, my fingers wrapped around the stem of my wine glass. I could feel his gaze and excitement. His facial expression resembled that of a fat person in an all-you-can-eat buffet. The weight of our unspoken agreement, it felt an electric charge in the air. You know why I asked you here, don't you? Mr. Carter said, his voice smooth as silk. I took a slow sip of wine before setting the glass down. I have an idea. He leaned in slightly, the scent of expensive cologne mixing with the rich aroma of whiskey. Mark is talented, but he lacks initiative. However, I reward those who know how to seize an opportunity. His fingers trailed lightly over the edge of my hand, making his intentions clear. I exhaled softly. I felt my pulse quickening. I wasn't naive. This was a game of power, and I was willing to play. At this point, I had no choice but to play. My loyalty to Mark was unwavering, but I also knew that sometimes the world didn't reward virtue. And if I can help Mark taste success, who knows, maybe sky's the limit after that. I decided to flirt back a little, and maybe I can make a case on why Mark deserved a promotion. So I slowly brushed my knee against his beneath the table, watching the way his jaw tightened at the contact. "I believe in my husband," I murmured. "And if there is anything I can say or do to convince you that he deserves this promotion, please. We need this," I said, sounding desperate. Mr. Carter smirked. Without another word, he rose, adjusting the cuffs of his tailored suit. "Suite 1408, 20 minutes. Then he walked away, leaving me with a choice to make. All I kept thinking of was how this could help Mark. Shamefully, I rose and walked towards the elevator. I felt like everyone was staring at me. Every step closer to Suite 1408 felt like a step closer in line to a roller coaster, and I hate roller coasters. My stomach started to turn. I knocked on the door, and Mr. Carter opened with a smile he couldn't hold back. The hotel suite was spacious, the city skyline glowing through the floor-to-ceiling windows. I stood near the bed, my heart pounding, the adrenaline of the moment almost intoxicating. The sound of the door locking made me inhale sharply. "Are you sure about this?" he asked, though we both knew the answer. Instead of responding, I poured a shot of vodka he had by the night table, and I stepped forward. His hands gripped my waist, pulling me flush against him as our lips met. He slowly removed my dress, revealing my breast in which he admired so greatly, squeezing them like he never felt a pair of tits before. I bit my lip, at first to endure the shame and torture. But then I noticed I was biting my lip towards the pleasure and excitement. I started to enjoy this. For the next hour, I played my role perfectly. We started to foreplay. At first, I submitted to Mr. Carter's sexual urges, and it was not long before Mr. Carter was taking orders from me. I never thought of myself as the dominate one in bed. But that night, I was the one running the office. Seemed like Mr. Carter was more presentation than productivity, because it was only a few minutes, or rather a few pumps inside me before he released. Embarrassed, he continued to apologize for finishing fast. We both decided to keep this a secret. Well, as long as he kept true to his side of the deal. When I returned home, Mark was already asleep, his body curled toward my side of the bed. I slipped beneath the covers, staring at the ceiling, my body still tingling from Carter's touch. The next morning, Mark's phone buzzed. A message from Mr. Carter. "Congratulations, Mark. The promotion is yours." I smiled to see Mark sit up in disbelief, running a hand through his hair. "I don't believe it. I finally did it." I kissed his shoulder softly, pressing my lips against his skin. "I told you," I whispered. "You just needed the right opportunity." And I had made sure of it. That's the end of tonight's episode. Please help our channel grow by liking the video and subscribing. Also, please let us know what kind of stories you would like to hear. See you on the next spicy episode.